Welcome to my channel. Trending now, and I'm here to talk about the Apollo 13 mission. On April 11, 1970, the Apollo 13 crew launched from Cape Canaveral, Florida, on their way to the moon. But just 2 days later, a sudden and powerful explosion rocked their spacecraft, 210,000 miles away from Earth. The explosion caused a loss of oxygen and power, and the astronauts were forced to abandon their plans to land on the moon. They were now stranded in space, with limited resources and no way to get home. In this video, I'm going to talk about how the astronauts survived this catastrophic accident and how NASA engineers came up with a creative solution to save them. I'll also share some of the mysteries that still surround the Apollo 13 mission. So if you're interested in learning more about this incredible story, then stay tuned. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more videos like this. The mystery of Apollo 13, how 3 astronauts survived a catastrophic crash. On April 11, 1970, the Apollo 13 mission launched from Cape Canaveral, Florida. A crew of 3 astronauts, Jim Lovell, Jack Swigert and Fred Haise, are on their way to the moon. But just 2 days later, a sudden and powerful explosion 210,000 miles from Earth rocked their spacecraft. The explosion caused a loss of oxygen and energy and forced the astronauts to abandon plans to land on the moon. They are now stranded in space, with limited resources and no way to get home. The world watched in suspense as NASA engineers worked around the clock to come up with a plan to save the astronauts. They eventually came up with a risky but creative solution. They would use the lunar module as a lifeboat to bring the astronauts back to Earth. After 5 harrowing days in space, the Apollo 13 crew splashed safely into the Pacific Ocean. Their story is one of courage, determination and ingenuity, and it continues to inspire people around the world. Here are some of the mysteries surrounding the Apollo 13 mission. The number 1 is: what caused the explosion? The number 2 is: how did astronauts survive with such limited resources? And the number 3 is: how did NASA engineers come up with such a creative solution to save astronauts? These mysteries are still debated today, but one thing is certain: the Apollo 13 mission is a testament to the power of the human spirit and ingenuity. If you're looking for a story that will keep you on the edge of your seat, then Mystery of Apollo 13 is for you. It is a story of survival, hope and the triumph of the human spirit. What caused the explosion? The exact cause of the Apollo 13 explosion is still debated, but it is believed to have been caused by a combination of factors, including a manufacturing defect in the oxygen tank. The tank is made of a material called Inconel, which is susceptible to stress corrosion cracking. A design flaw in the oxygen tank. The tank is not designed to withstand the oxygen pressure inside. Heat accumulates in the oxygen tank. The tank was heated during launch and this heat may have weakened the tank walls. A spark from the electrical wire in the oxygen tank. When the tank ruptures, it releases oxygen into the spacecraft and causes a fire. A spark from the tank's electrical wiring may cause a fire. Perhaps all these factors contributed to the explosion. Manufacturing defects and design flaws made the tank more susceptible to bursting, and the heat buildup weakened the tank walls. Then the fire spread from the spark of the electric wire. The explosion on Apollo 13 was a tragic event, but it also shows the resilience of the human spirit. Astronauts and NASA engineers worked together on a plan to get the astronauts home safely, and they eventually succeeded. The Apollo 13 astronauts survived with limited resources using a combination of ingenuity, teamwork, and sacrifice. How did the astronauts survive with such limited resources? Here are some of the things they did to survive. They used the lunar module as a lifeboat. The lunar module was designed to support 2 astronauts for up to 2 days, but the Apollo 13 astronauts were able to stretch their resources by rationing their food, water, and oxygen. They used the command module's batteries to power the spacecraft. The command module's batteries were designed to last only a few days, but the astronauts were able to conserve energy by turning off unnecessary systems. They used the engines of the lunar module to bring the spacecraft back to Earth. The lunar module's engine was not designed to be used for this purpose, but the astronauts were able to make it work by adjusting the fuel mixture. They worked together to solve the problems they faced. The astronauts were under a lot of pressure, but they managed to stay calm and work together to find a solution. The Apollo 13 astronauts were able to survive with limited resources because they were prepared, resourceful and determined. They were lucky that NASA engineers were able to come up with a plan to get them home safely. Their stories are a testament to the power of human spirit and ingenuity. It is a story that continues to inspire people around the world. How did NASA engineers come up with such a creative solution to save the astronauts? NASA engineers came up with such a creative solution to save the Apollo 13 astronauts by using a combination of brainstorming, teamwork, and improvisation. Here are some of the things they did. They brainstormed a list of possible solutions. The engineers came up with a long list of possible solutions, and they then evaluated each one to see if it was feasible. They worked together to come up with the best solution. The engineers worked together to come up with the best solution, and they were willing to compromise to find a solution that would work. They improvised when necessary. The engineers were willing to improvise when necessary, and they were able to come up with creative solutions to problems that they had not anticipated. The Apollo 13 engineers were able to come up with such a creative solution because they were prepared, resourceful, and determined. They were also lucky that they had a lot of experience with space travel, and they were able to draw on this experience to come up with a solution. Their story is a testament to the power of ingenuity and teamwork. It is a story that continues to inspire people around the world. Here are some of the specific creative solutions that the NASA engineers came up with to save the Apollo 13 astronauts. They used the lunar module as a lifeboat. This was a risky decision, but it was the only way to ensure that the astronauts had enough oxygen and power to survive. They used the command module's batteries to power the spacecraft. This was also a risky decision, but it was the only way to keep the spacecraft running until it could be turned around and headed back to Earth. They used the lunar module's engine to propel the spacecraft back to Earth. This was a challenging task, but the engineers were able to make it work by adjusting the fuel mixture. They built a makeshift carbon dioxide filter out of plastic bags, cardboard, and duct tape. This was necessary to remove carbon dioxide from the lunar module, which was becoming toxic to the astronauts. The Apollo 13 engineers were able to come up with these creative solutions because they were willing to think outside the box and they were not afraid to take risks. Their ingenuity and determination saved the lives of the Apollo 13 astronauts, and their story is a testament to the power of human ingenuity. The Apollo 13 mission was a reminder of the dangers of space travel, but it also showed the incredible power of human ingenuity. The astronauts and NASA engineers were able to overcome impossible odds and bring the crew home safely. Their story is a testament to the human spirit and the importance of never giving up.